Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Fausey Focus. And this week we will talk about week 5. Our agenda for today is the weekly recap, the top performers for week 5, the game of the week, which was the Memphis East versus Crosstown game, and then we will talk about the state RPI rankings. Okay, moving on to our weekly recap. You have on Monday, Southwind defeated Ridgeway by the score of 4-0. You have NBA defeating Compass by the score of 4-0. NBA was led by Anthony Zelaya with 3 goals, Edgar Chitroy with 1 goal, and Andre Perez with an assist. Memphis Collegiate defeated Middle College by the score of 9-0. Overton defeated Central 2-1. Overton goal scorers were Damian Castillo with 1 goal, Miguel Alonso with 1 goal, and Roberth Mendez with an assist. Hillcrest defeated Whitehaven in the Battle of Whitehaven, as I'm calling it, by the score of 3-0. The reason why I'm calling that, it is a derby match, and the schools are only a couple minutes away from each other. TRA defeated Fayette Christian by the score of 4-1. Yanni Sinus with 2 goals, Hudson Mills with 1 goal, Court Peterson with an assist. Next up on Tuesday, we have Wooddale taking on Memphis School of Excellence Winchester, and Wooddale gets the 3-2 win, and Wooddale gets a free kick goal from about 40 yards out. NBA defeated Kip by the score of 9-0. You have Caden Brewer with 2 goals, 1 assist, Ohani Rivera with 2 goals, Junior Marinas with 1 goal, Anthony Zelai with a goal, John Salazar with a goal, Miguel Delgado with a goal, and Nilson Lima with a goal. Next up, PCA versus Craigmont. Craigmont gets the 5-1 win. Goal scorers for Craigmont, you have Giovanni Marin with 3 goals, Anthony Morales with 2 goals, Christopher Maldonado with 3 assists. North Point gets the 4-0 win over Kirby. Goal scorers for North Point, 3 goals by Maverick Ray, 1 goal by Maddox Vincent, 1 assist by Tyler Thorne, 1 assist by Ryder Russell, and 1 assist by Parker Ruth. USJ defeats Fayette Academy by the score of 9-0. Harrisburg and Dyer County played in the Dyersburg Derby, and Dyersburg gets the 4-0 win. County defeated Chester County by the score of 2-1. Munford defeated Harding 4-3. Goal scorers for Munford is 1 goal by Christopher Gonzalez, 1 goal by Matias Sakura, 1 goal by Luis Velasquez, 1 goal by Brandon Scott, and 2 assists by Marcos Rodriguez. The next game is the East versus Crosstown game, and that is our game of the week, but we'll talk about this in our next segment. Los Angeles defeated SBA by the score of 4-0. MUS defeats ECS 1-0, and Earl Houston scores off the rebound off of a PK. Collierville defeated St. George's 4-1. Cordova and Kingsbury battled it out in a 2-2 draw. University High defeated Freedom Prep by the score of 6-2. Goal scorers for University, Oscar Simpson with 3 goals, Benjamin Perry with 2 goals, Ben Brown with 1 goal, 3 assists. Fayetteware defeated Douglas by the score of 8-4. Goal scorers for Fayetteware, you have Anthony Cavazos with 3 goals, Parker Lattimore with 2 goals, 2 assists, Roberto Ongwai with 3 goals, and then Ali Ferrafino with 5 assists. On Wednesday night, Lakeland Prep took on the Warriors of Central, and Lakeland gets the 5-0 win. Eli Coleman had a hat trick. Adam Atkinson with 1 goal, 1 assist. Yandrili Villatoro with 1 goal, 1 assist. Sebastian Suarez with an assist. Andreas Lopez with an assist. And then Alan Paredes with 1 assist. Brighton defeated Fayetteware 9-0. Jackson Hicks with 2 goals. Caleb Smith with 2 goals, 1 assist. Nick Sachs with 2 goals, 1 assist. Jacob York with 1 goal. Alexander Mitchell with 1 goal. Andrew Jenkins with 1 goal. Gavin DeBoer with 1 assist. Gavin Dietrich with 1 assist. And Alclin Davis with 2 assists. Finish out Wednesday night, you have Christian Brothers defeating White Station by the score of 3-0. Overton defeats PCA 2-0. Goals for Overton, 1 goal by Roberth Mendez, assisted by Rodri Ventura. Second goal for Overton, you have Carlos Cascos, and then the assist was by Yoendry Chaparro. Sheffield gets the big 8-0 win over Middle College. Hector Garcia with 5 goals, 1 assist. Dami Perez with 1 goal, 3 assists. And then Axel Sanchez with 1 goal. MSC Winchester defeats Hillcrest by the score of 8-3. John Ramirez with 3 goals, 1 assist. Diego Perez with 2 goals. Carlos Navarro with 2 goals. Bernie Perez with a goal, which was an Olympico, by the way. He also added 3 assists. And then Elvin Perez had 1 assist. Millington defeated Haywood by the score of 3-0. Goal scorers were Fernando Bonilla with 1 goal, Dylan Ariano with 1 goal, and then Diego Luna with 1 goal. Munford battled it out with USJ. The game ended in a 3-3 draw, but Munford was down at halftime and had to battle its way back to get the draw. Goal scorers for Munford, you have 2 goals, 1 assist by Marcos Rodriguez, 1 goal by Matias Sakura, 1 assist by Luis Velasquez, and then 1 assist by Lucas Mills. Brighton defeats McNary 6-0. Jason Hicks with 2 goals, 2 assists. Jacob York with 1 goal, 1 assist. Gavin Dietrich with 1 goal. Alcalin Davis with 1 goal. Caleb Smith with 1 goal, 1 assist. And then Lucas Kellum with the clean sheet. Covington defeated Dyer County by the score of 5-3. Ty Waddell had 3 goals, 1 assist. Trey Narcisse had 1 goal, 2 assists. Adrian Mallard had 1 goal, and then Braylon Mew had 1 assist. Lakeland Prep defeated Douglas by the score of 9-0. You had Adam Atkinson with 2 goals, 4 assists. Eli Coleman with 3 goals, 1 assist. Freshman Wesley Merritt with an assist. Gregorio Silva with a goal. Yunderly Villatoro with a goal. Sebastian Suarez with an assist. Freshman Braden Tierney with an assist. Gianluca Daniele with an assist. And Tristan Wynn with a goal. Arlington took on ECS, and Arlington gets the 1-0 win. Jacob Simpson with the game winner for Arlington with 7 seconds remaining, and Tyson Miller gets the clean sheet. Craigmont defeated Germantown by the score of 3-1. Briarcrest and MUS ended in a 5-2 win for Briarcrest. St. George's and North Point played on Thursday night, and North Point gets the 2-0 win. Cooper Mansell with a goal, Maverick Ray with a goal. Westminster defeated Harding by the score of 3-2. Houston defeated Lost by the score of 3-0. Goal scorers for Houston, you have Alex Ogu with 1 goal, Aiden Fisher with 1 goal, Grayson Adams with 1 goal, 1 assist, Jacob Morris with an assist. Collierville defeated Wooddale by the score of 5-0. Finishing out the week, MBA defeating University High by the score of 4-2. Anthony Zelaya with 1 goal, 1 assist. Caden Brewer with 1 goal, 1 assist. Josiah Padilla with a goal. Nilson Lima with a goal, and John Salazar with an assist. Moving on, we're going to talk about the top performers for week 5. You have Eli Coleman with 6 goals, 1 assist, and he is from Lakeland Prep. From Sheffield, you have Hector Garcia with 5 goals, 1 assist. And from NBA, you have Anthony Zelaya with 5 goals, 1 assist. Our honorable mentions go to Brighton's Jason Hicks and MSC Winchester's John Ramirez. Moving on, we're going to talk about the game of the week between East and Crosstown, and this game had big district implications. So Crosstown gets the 4 win against East. This is East's first defeat of the year. And so Crosstown, their goal scorers were 1 goal, 1 assist by Ezekiel Ramirez, 1 goal by Excellent Naim Mana, 1 goal by Raphael King, 1 goal by Theo King. He also added 1 assist. Sully Phillips with an assist, and then Terrell Clayton with an assist. And at halftime, it was 2-0. So Crosstown also adds 2 goals in the second half. Like I said, this game has some big implications for their district seeding. This district does have 8 teams in it. As of now, you have Crosstown in first place and again, this is the district seeding for single A District 15. Crosstown is in first place. Memphis Rise is in second place. MBA is in third. And then Memphis East is in 4th. Compass is in 5th place. University High is in 6th. And then Memphis School of Excellence Cordova is in 7th. And KIPP Collegiate is in 8th. Next up, we'll be talking about the state seating on the TWSAA website on the RPI standings, and they will use this for the state tournament seating. We'll talk about all the teams kind of in the West Tennessee, if they're in the top 20-ish rankings. For single A, for public schools, you have Crosstown in second place with the record of 4-0-2. You have McKinsey with a record of 4-0-2, and they're in 10th place. Memphis East is in 13th place by the record of 6-1-0. Memphis School of Excellence Winchester is in 18th place, and they have a record of 4-1-0. Memphis Rise finishes out the top 20 in 20th place with a record of 2-1-2. And again, some of these records may not be accurate, but how you can correct this, if coaches, if you're listening, you can go into your portal and you can add the scores to those games that you are missing, because the state will be taking into consideration only games that were posted in the portal. So if you're only adding your scores in Max Preps or even in Coach T, those scores will not be factored into this. If you guys see that your record is not accurate, please go to the portal and then add those scores. Moving on to AA for the public schools. For 2A, you have South Gibson. They're just outside of Jackson in Medina, Tennessee. They are the highest West Tennessee ranked team, and they are in third place. They have a record of 6-0-2, and they are currently undefeated. Also, out of the Jackson area, Jackson Northside, they are 4-0-0, and they are currently fifth. Crockett County are in sixth place with a record of 4-2-1. Brighton is in seventh with a perfect record, 9-0. And Kirby High School, they are in ninth place with a record of 3-1. Chester County is in 12th with a record of 2-1. Wooddale is in 20th place, 4-3-1. They have Munford listed as a 2A school. Sometimes it takes them a little bit to move teams in the right classification, because Munford was a 2A school last year and they bumped up to 3A this year. Okay, going to 3A, you have Collierville in first place with a perfect record of a 7-0-1. You have Southwind. Like, again, I've said this before, it's not a perfect way to do this, but it is better than a blind draw. But Southwind is 2-0, and they are in the top 10. Southwind is in 8th place. You have Houston in 14th with a record of 4-2-1. Bartlett is in 18th with a record of 4-1-1. Arlington in 19th. 4-1-1. White Station is in 27th with 4-4-1. So a lot of Memphis and West Tennessee schools are kind of spread out, and a lot of West Tennessee schools were in the top 15. Going to the private school division, so this is D2 single A, you have Los Ann. They're the top rated West Tennessee school with a record of 5-2-1, and they're currently in 6th place. North Point Christian, they're the second highest, and they're ranked 12th with a record of 6-4-1. Jackson Christian, 3-2-1. They're in 16th. ECA out of Jackson, they're 21st, 2-4-2. St. John's, they're in 22nd. Westminster is in 23rd. ECS is in 26th. Fayette Academy, 36th. Pleasant View is in 41st. And in last place for the small private schools is TRA. TRA did win a few games, but what the state uses, it's not really the max prep scores. Each coach, that is the head coach, they will have a TSAA portal where they will go in and they will add the scores. The state will send each head coach an email with a scorecard. And so after each game, a coach has to submit the right final results to the state, and that's how they will factor in these seedings. So moving on to Division 2 AA of Christian Brothers with a perfect record of 9-0-1. They are currently in second place. In first place is Baylor out of Chattanooga, and they're 8-1-1. Firecrest is currently ranked 9th in the state seedings, 5-3-1. US is in 12th. And again, like what they made a mistake with Munford. They have SBA ranked 15th. SBA, for those of you that don't know, they dropped from AA private school to single A private school. And so it'll take some time for the state to correct that. Well, everybody, thanks again for listening to the Fausey Focus for week 5. We'll be back next week, and don't forget to give us a like, follow us on our social media pages, and don't forget to keep up to date on our episodes. All right, guys, have a great one. Peace.